This blue shirt will look great on Dad.
Oh, yes, he will love it. Put it right here. I packed the gifts already. Let's finish this quickly so we can leave. There, all done packing the clothes.
Everything fit perfectly.
Yes, we are finally ready for the trip. We'll see you all again after that.
Yes, travel safe now.
Goodbye, everyone. See you soon.
Some goodbyes are quiet, spoken not in words, but in lingering glances and hands that hesitate to let go. On the final day of the year, Huyen and Day prepare to take their family, little Maya and Mrs. Sam, back to the countryside for Lunar New Year. Before the journey begins, neighbors gather in a narrow alley, offering simple gifts, heartfelt advice, and years of unspoken affection. As the car pulls away, memories, gratitude, and the true meaning of Tet travel with them, revealing that home is not only where we return, but also who we leave behind. On the final morning of the year, the narrow alley where Huyen's family had lived for many years felt quieter than usual, as if it too understood that a farewell was about to take place. The early sunlight rested softly on the old tiled roofs, and a cool winter breeze carried the faint scent of dry leaves and distant incense. Inside the modest house, Huyen and Dee moved calmly but carefully, packing their belongings with the kind of patience that comes only with experience. Each bag was filled not just with clothes, but with thoughtful preparation. Warm sweaters for the countryside nights, small gifts for relatives back home, and familiar items meant to bring comfort during the long holiday. Near the doorway, Mrs. Sam, Dee's mother, sat on a well-worn wooden chair that had witnessed countless family moments. Her hands, marked by time and quiet sacrifice, rested gently on the head of little Maya, who sat obediently at her feet. The child's bright eyes sparkled with curiosity as she asked innocent questions about the Lunar New Year in the countryside, about red envelopes, blooming apricot flowers, and whether the old family house still looked the same. Mrs. Sam smiled, her expression warm and peaceful, stroking Maya's hair with a tenderness that carried the love of generations. For her, this journey home was not simply a trip. It was a return to memories, traditions, and roots that had shaped her entire life. As the hour of departure drew closer, the familiar sound of footsteps echoed in the alley. One by one, neighbors arrived, some with slow, careful steps, others with cheerful voices calling out greetings. There was no formality, only sincerity. One neighbor placed a pair of neatly wrapped rice cakes on the table, saying they were made just yesterday. Another quietly slipped a small bag of ginger candies into Huyen's hands, reminding her to give them to the elders back home. These simple gifts carried no great value, yet they held something far more precious, the warmth of shared years and mutual care. The small house soon filled with gentle conversation, laughter, and the unspoken emotion of parting. People spoke of safe travels, of health and good fortune, of meeting again after the holidays. Though no one said it aloud, everyone understood that these moments, standing together in a narrow alley, exchanging smiles and well wishes, were what truly gave the Lunar New Year its meaning. In that quiet space, surrounded by familiar faces and heartfelt gestures, the spirit of Tet arrived early, wrapped in kindness, memory, and the deep comfort of belonging. As the conversations in the small house slowly settled, the moment of farewell became more real, and with it came a quiet heaviness that no one wished to name. The neighbors lingered a little longer than necessary, as if by staying they could delay the passing of time. Words were spoken softly now, no longer cheerful greetings, but careful reminders shaped by concern and affection. One woman reached for Mrs. Sam's hand and gently told her to take good care of her health during the cold days ahead. Another asked Day to drive slowly, warning him about the crowded roads and the fatigue that often came with long journeys at the end of the year. Mrs. Sam listened patiently, nodding with a calm smile that reflected her age and understanding. She returned each concern with gratitude, squeezing hands, offering kind words in reply. To her, these neighbors were not simply people who lived nearby. They were witnesses to her family's life in this place. People who had seen Day grow from a restless boy into a responsible man, who had watched Huyen step into the role of a devoted wife and mother, and who now admired little Maya as she grew day by day. The bond between them was woven quietly over time, through shared mornings, small favors, and moments of hardship that had long since passed. Huyen gently wrapped an extra scarf around Maya's neck, carefully adjusting it so it would not be too tight. The child stood still, sensing that this moment mattered, though she did not fully understand why. When everything was ready, Maya turned around and waved to the neighbors with both hands, her small face bright and open. "Happy New Year," she said clearly, her voice light and innocent. The simple words touched everyone deeply, bringing smiles that were mixed with emotion. In that instant, the worries of age and the weight of years seemed to soften, replaced by hope carried in a child's voice. Day stepped forward to thank everyone, his words sincere but unadorned. He spoke of gratitude for their kindness throughout the years, for watching over the house, and for treating his family as their own. There was no speech prepared, no need for anything elaborate. What mattered was the honesty in his tone, the shared understanding that distance did not weaken true connection. The neighbors responded with nods and gentle laughter, telling him not to worry and to focus on enjoying the holiday with his family. As coats were put on and the door was finally opened, Mrs. Sam paused for a moment at the threshold. She looked back at the familiar room, at the faces gathered there, and felt a quiet fullness in her heart. For her, the Lunar New Year was not defined by where one celebrated it, but by the people who remained connected, even when paths temporarily diverged. With that thought, she stepped outside, carrying with her not just memories, but the enduring warmth of a community that felt like family. The engine started quietly, and as the car slowly rolled forward, the narrow alley seemed to stretch longer than it ever had before. Huyen turned her head for one last look, her eyes following the familiar outlines of the houses, the old gate at the corner, and the neighbors who remained standing there, waving gently as the distance grew. Their figures blurred slightly through the window, not because they disappeared too quickly, but because emotion had softened her sight. In that silent moment, she realized how deeply this place had shaped their daily lives, holding years of simple routines, shared meals, and unspoken care. Day drove steadily, his hands firm on the wheel, his expression calm yet thoughtful. After a few minutes, he broke the silence with a quiet remark, almost as if speaking to himself. He said that returning home for Tet was a way of honoring one's roots, of remembering where life began. Yet he added that the people they had just left behind were also part of those roots, bound to them by kindness rather than blood. Mrs. Sam listened attentively from the back seat, her gaze fixed on the road ahead. She nodded slowly, her eyes reflecting both agreement and peace earned through many seasons of life. Maya leaned against her grandmother, already growing drowsy from the gentle motion of the car. Mrs. Sam wrapped an arm around the child, feeling the warmth of her small body and the steady rhythm of her breathing. In that embrace, past and future seemed to meet. She thought of her own parents, long gone, who had once taken her on similar journeys at the end of the year. She remembered the sound of wooden wheels on dirt roads, the excitement mixed with fatigue, and the quiet joy of arriving home to familiar faces. Time had moved forward, but the meaning remained unchanged. Outside the window, the city slowly gave way to open roads and distant fields. The air felt cleaner, the sky wider, and the pace of life gentler. Huyen adjusted her seat and allowed herself to relax, feeling a sense of gratitude settle in her heart. She knew that the coming days would be filled with family gatherings, ancestral offerings, and shared meals that carried the taste of tradition. Yet what stayed with her most was the farewell they had just experienced, a reminder that home could exist in more than one place. As the car continued toward the countryside, a quiet understanding filled the space between them. Tet was not merely a destination marked by kilometers or time, it was a journey shaped by love, memory, and the people who walked beside one another, whether near or far. With that thought, the family traveled on, carrying with them the warmth of the past year and the gentle hope of a new one waiting ahead.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Live Single RV. Vậy là nội dung câu chuyện của chúng ta ngày hôm nay đã kết thúc tại đây. Trong câu chuyện của chúng ta ngày hôm nay đã kể về nội dung đó chính là việc gia đình Huyền Đệ và bé May A cùng với mẹ của Đệ là bà Sam đã chào tạm biệt tất cả những người hàng xóm xung quanh nông trại của Huyền để cùng nhau về quê bà Sam đón Tết Nguyên đán của truyền sắp tới. Đó là một khoảnh khắc rất là vui vẻ và hạnh phúc. Mọi người chào tạm biệt nhau và hẹn gặp nhau sau Tết sẽ gặp lại. Huyền thì rất là hồi hộp bởi vì đây là lần đầu tiên cô về quê của Đệ để ăn Tết cùng với gia đình. Cô không khỏi hồi hộp và mong chờ đến ngày được về quê Đệ cùng gia đình ăn Tết ra mắt họ hàng nhà Đệ. Mọi tình tiết hấp dẫn về câu chuyện Huyền Đệ sẽ còn được kể ở các video tiếp theo. Các bạn đừng quên bấm vào nút đăng ký kênh sẽ nhận được thông báo mới nhất về các câu chuyện sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh Live Single RV nha. Nếu các bạn thấy video hôm nay hay, hấp dẫn, hãy cho mình xin một nút like, share và để lại comment ở dưới video nhé. Mọi ý kiến đóng góp của các bạn sẽ giúp mình cải thiện nội dung trên kênh hay hơn nữa để phục vụ khán giả. Huyền và Đệ cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều vì đã luôn theo dõi và ủng hộ kênh của họ. Huyền and Đệ, thank you so much. Please continue support their channel Live Single RV. Bye bye, see you soon tomorrow everyone.